What's up everyone, Kawaii here, and welcome to my playthrough of Grisaia Chronos Rebellion. This is part 8 of my Grisaia Chronos Rebellion playthrough series. If you haven't seen the other 7 parts, you can play this in the description down below. But yeah, we're gonna pick up where we left off back in part 7, so without further ado, let's get to it. Alright, so last playthrough where we left off, we concluded chapter 1, now we're on chapter 2, and looks like Class D has been paired with a brand new mission. They're gonna infiltrate Nostra, a mafia group. When we head to the underground shooting range, we find Yamamoto-san impatiently waiting for us with folded arms. After receiving their weapons, the girls take a moment to inspect them. While we trust Yamamoto-san's skills as a gunsmith, handling firearms requires precision. Certain things can only be noticed by the user. The devices she gave me are different from the ones we normally use. They're small, wireless earphones, the kind that could easily be mistaken for an earring. Great! We can wear these the whole time and it won't look suspicious. Oh, wow. Really fucking high tech. Ah, I see. I mean, kinda are. You're giving them everything they need for the mission, giving them all the supplies, prepping all their stuff. Perhaps a bit intimidated by Yamamoto-san's outburst at Serika, Elle timidly speaks up. What is it? Oh, that's true. Well, maybe maybe the firearms will be traveling separately. Maybe they'll get the firearms like once they hit their destination. I'm fairly sure Top Brass has made an arrangement with the Sky Marshals. Oh, okay, well that too. Armed security officers who work at airports and on planes. Their job is to prevent hijackings and other acts of terrorism. What is it? Lamb points at the departure time printed on the ticket Yamamoto-san handed to her. He's right, we should leave soon. Honestly, couldn't Miss Nogami have booked a flight that would have allowed us more time to prepare? I grabbed Sarika by the scruff of her neck, interrupting her heated argument on the meaning of motherhood. Come on, we're going. No time to talk. Calm down, we got work to do. I'll talk with you after we get back, okay? Yamamoto having an identity crisis. Two hours after departing from Mihama, we've arrived in H Prefecture. I was told that Koyoi is supposed to come and meet us here. Oh! Whoa! Somebody calls my name. I turn around and see a slender girl standing there. Koyoi, is that you? How do I say this? She doesn't look like the other Grisaia characters. It's like she was drawn by a completely different artist. Yeah, I remember you, but compared to when I last saw her, she seemed to exude a much softer aura. Has she created a new personality for herself while she's undercover? Yeah, I'm not really sure what I expected, but it's definitely not her. Yeah, from left to right. Elle, Serika, and Flan. I'm not saying she's like a bad design, but I'm guessing like they hired like one of the artists that worked in like other Front Wing games to draw her. Yeah, I'm guessing that's what happened because there's no way The same artist who drew her also drew L and Serica.
よろしくお願いします。今宵。
おお、いきなり呼び捨て。やるね、アイルルン。
セリカとフランと接しているくせでつい不快にさせたらすみません。
Oh, silly me. There is a new track playing right now. It's called Oranget Chocolat.
いえ、平気よ。好きに呼んでくれて構わないわ。じゃあ僕は今宵ちゃんで。
Oh, this is what our arm and leg shooting pacifist looks like, huh?
なら、私はよっちゃんで。
Yo-chan?
私、何か変なこと言った？
Koyo shoots me a plating look. It's their first time on an infiltration mission, so they're a little nervous. Don't worry about it.
それはそれで不安なんだけど。
Anyway, could you take us to our new workplace? We wouldn't want to be late and make a poor first impression. Koyo briefly glances over to Flan.
大丈夫。ちゃんと自分の力量はわきまえてるから。わかったわ。じゃあ行きましょうか。タクシーを手配してあるからついてきて。
We're going by taxi?
何か問題が？
No, I just figured we'd try to be a little more discreet.
ああ、そういうこと？単純に悪目立ちしたくないだけよ。
I mean, it doesn't really get much more discreet than a taxi. Everyone takes taxis. Well, these days, not really all that much, considering that, Uber and Lyft are a thing.
それに、もし不採用だったら、私も含めて処分されて終わりよ。
Ellen Serica's expressions harden at Koyo's words. Don't worry, you won't be rejected. Not with your abilities.
はい。
よーし、頑張ろう。
In the taxi on the way to the Nostra HQ, I do a final check over the data I've been given. Oh, a Phantom Trigger OST playing right now. Gangster. That usually plays when the character is doing some, planning, covert shit, strategizing. A little bit of downtime before the big mission. The organization, which is based in H Prefecture, K City, has been rapidly expanding its power in recent years. They do so by taking down rival organizations and terrorist groups within the prefecture, robbing them of their land and weapons. Some of the firearms they take are sold on to other organizations. They have strong ties to a wide terrorist network. On the surface, Nostra presents itself as a commercial conglomerate. They build hotels and other facilities on their new land and earn substantial profits. The headquarters are located inside of the boss's private residence, which is a 3-floor mansion. It also has a basement. Boss and his daughter's private quarters are on the 3rd floor, with the 2nd floor houses the underbosses and other members who are referred to as employees. First floor is a communal area. The basement serves as a storage space for stolen weapons, and there's an underground shooting range where the employees can train. There are 3 underbosses and 5 ordinary employees, including Koyoi. They managed to eliminate their rivals with such meager staff. That suggests they must be pretty good at what they do. Woo! Yeah. Man, they really put in a lot of detail when it comes to this organization. Sasuga Front Wing. As I mentally prepare for what I'm in for, I delete all the data off my device.
お待たせしました。正木新たちを連れてきました。
Oh, I definitely don't remember this track. It's called Successor.
ようこそノストラへ。ボスを務めているアルバート・カニアだ。今宵から話は聞いているよ。我々の会社では常に人材を求めている。歓迎するよ。もちろん、ちゃんと有能ならね。
Uh-huh. What do you mean, sir?
今宵から君たちの腕が立つことは聞いているし、今宵のことも信頼している。
Damn, I'm guessing Koyoi really put in some work when it comes to gaining favor from the higher ups. Man, you trust her? Sure you want to trust her?
けれど、採用するからにはその腕前を私に証明してほしい。
I see. So there's a pre-employment test. Well, I suppose they won't let us sneak in here so easily.
どうだい？
Yes, that is fine.
では早速、我が社と敵対関係にあるポスターという組織を襲撃し、奴らが持っているものすべてを奪ってきてもらいたい。
Okay. Understood, sir.
ボスの要求に2つ返事か。いいね。好感を持てる。
Thank you, sir. If you'll excuse us, we'll be heading out immediately.
おや、ポスターに関する情報はいらないのかい？
I take that gathering intel as part of my job.
組織名一つで対応してくれるとは頼もしいね。なら、私は報告を楽しみに待っていよう。今宵、君は彼らについていってくれるかい？
構いませんが、私でよろしいのですか？
たとえ相手が昔馴染みでも、その能力を見誤る君ではないだろう。
いえ、そういう意味ではなく。
Who is that? A cheerful voice fills the room, and a girl about 7 or 8 years old comes skipping in.
聞いて、今日学校でね。
Damn, you even gained favor from the what I'm assuming is the boss's daughter?
お客さん？
今後、うちで働いてもらうかもしれない人たちだよ。
はじめまして、私はサリアです。よろしくお願いします。お兄ちゃん、お姉ちゃん。
She looks pretty cute, and of course, she got that big ass forehead.
もしかして彼女も社員なんですか？
Sarika immediately struck by how cute she is. Although, in my opinion, I feel like Isaka is much cuter.
まさか、サリアは私の娘だよ。
師匠、サリアちゃんがお持ち帰りしたいくらい可愛いんですけど、どうすればいいですか？
No. We have enough lolies in this series. You'd better pass the employment test, then you'll be able to spend plenty of time with her. Alright, we'll be getting to work now.
今宵もお仕事なの？はい。今宵に今日、学校で会ったこと話したかったのに。涙目になりながらの上目遣い。これは凶悪。こんなことされたら、どんな男の人も落とされちゃうよね。
Sure, whatever you say.
今宵は女性ですし、関係ないのでは？
仕事が終わったら真っ先にお嬢様の元へ向かうので、しばらく待っててください。いっぱいお話聞いてくれる？はい。本当に？何でも聞いてくれる？何でもというわけには。わかりました。この子ちょろいぞ。ほら、もう行くわよ。
We pile into one of Nostra's minivans and depart for Foster's hideout. You really surprised me back there.
何が？
I didn't think you would be so good with
ど
kids.
ういう距離感で接すればいいかわからないけど、すぐに慣れたわ。母親を早くに亡くしたせいか、すぐに懐いてくれてね。
I mean, we're talking about the girl that refuses to kill people. I mean, it really is no surprise that she'd be one of the more compassionate sword operatives. Is that why you've been appointed to be her babysitter?
子守というより、年の離れた友達という感じね。
Maybe this is why Koya appears gentler than how I remembered her. Spending time with an innocent child must have changed her.
というか、私の方が意外だったわ。まさき、分析官のようなことできたのね。先生がパソコン一つで情報を集めることができるなんて、私も初耳。
I must admit, I didn't quite collect it all by myself. If I were that skilled, I'd be working at a white-collar job instead.
それじゃあ情報はどうやって集めるんですか？
I'm guessing from Thanato-san? I accessed the headquarters server from this PC and pulled up the data from there. We have the Thanatos system too, so it shouldn't be too difficult to get our hands on any information we need. Yep, of course.
それじゃあ、もしかして僕でもその情報を引き出せるってことですか？
Yeah, you can. You can use my computer and try it, if you want.
どれどれ？
With my instructions, Serica manages to access the HQ database, and she clumsily types in the name of the organization.
本当だ。もう情報が出てきた。どれ？
Foster is a newly established organization based in H Prefecture, O City. Unlike Nostra, they don't have a public facade. They just commit all sorts of atrocities to increase their wealth and power. They've started dealing in firearms lately, so Nostra's boss is starting to see their ferocity as a threat.
拠点もそう遠くないし、確かにこれはノストラにとって目障りな存在ね。
The boss is quite the odd character. If he's making us take down such a large threat as our employment exam, he has no guarantee that we'll succeed.
何か思惑でもあるんでしょうか。
I glance at Koyoi through the rearview mirror.
たまたま直近の仕事先がそこだっただけで、特に裏はないと思うわ。
Well, regardless of the boss's intent, all we have to do is complete the job.
今回はどんなプランで行くんですか？
Since this is our employment test, I'd assume that you're only here to observe and support us, Koyoi.
ええ、その認識で合っているわ。
Alright, then Elle and Serica will form the vanguard, and Koyoi and Flan the rear guard.
分かったわ。
If we pass the exam, we'll be working together in the future, so let's pay close attention to each other's moves. But be careful that you don't get preoccupied with your squad mates, or else the enemy may catch you off guard.
了解。
プランはそれだけ？
What? Are you worried?
いえ、うちは全員ノープランで仕事するから不安はないわ。ただ上からは D 組って聞かされてたから、まさきがしっかり管理しているのかと思ってたのよ。
Word's spreading fast in Sword. I see. Our teamwork has gotten a lot better lately, so you don't need to worry. And I likely won't be able to give them detailed instructions for every operation from now on, so I want them to get used to working more independently.
あ、連携で思い出した。師匠、およいちゃんにあれ渡さないと。
Oh yeah, it's in my bag. Can you give it to her?
あった。はい、およいちゃん。イヤホン？
It may look like one, but it's actually a communications device. The ones we use are shaped like earrings, but it would be suspicious if you suddenly had a piercing, wouldn't it?
なるほど。
We'll be wearing ours at all times, so if you need anything, just give us a call.
分かったわ。
Sometime after I finish explaining everything, we arrive at our destination. Is everybody ready?
はい。問題ありません。
Oh, Mission Start is playing.
いつでも行けるわ。
Alright, I've sent a floor plan of the building to your devices. Begin the raid when you're all ready. Girls exchange glances.
行きます。
Well, I guess... I'm guessing, judging by the gunfire sounds, they weren't planning on doing any sneaky shit. Just going guns blazing, huh? We finished the operation without any difficulty and returned to HQ about an hour later.
ただいま戻りました。
ご苦労様。おや、手ぶらかい？成果物はどうしたんだい？
We left them in the van for now, in case you didn't want anybody else to see them, sir.
ほう、それは気が利いているね。気に入ったよ。それで、仕事の方はどうだったかな？
まさきの情報は早く的確ですぐに動けて非常に助かりました。仲間の能力も正確に把握していて、とても頼もしい存在です。L はアタッカーとしての能力が高く、多くの戦果を上げていました。きちんと周りも見えていますし、 誰と組んでもうまくマッチすると思います。セリカは盾の扱いに長けていて攻守をこなせるオールラウンダーです。立ち回りがうまく敵の隙を作ってくれて仲間を生かしてくれる貴重な存在に感じました。フランはうちには少ない貴重なバックアップ要員です。狙撃に少し癖がありましたけど、それが逆に敵の意表をつき一気に押し切ることができそうです。
Yeah, rather unique.
私から見た4人はこんな感じでしょうか。
これは安心して仕事を任せられそうだね。改めてようこそモストラへ。君たちを歓迎するよ。
Well, that was easy. I let out a deep sigh of relief when we're told that we've passed the test. Feels like we've finally arrived at the starting line of our true mission.
今宵お仕事が終わったらサリアのとこ来るって言ったのに、なんで来てくれないの？いいえ、ボスに報告するまでがお仕事なので。
もう報告も終わったから今宵を連れて行っていいよ、サリア。
お嬢様、引っ張らないでください。
そういえば採用後のことは今宵から何か聞いているかい？
No, nothing.
そうか。だが私の方から簡単に説明しておこう。社員にはこの家で共同生活をしてもらっている。仲間との絆は大事だからね。悪いが特別な事情がない限り例外は認められない。
Understood, sir. This actually works in our favor. If we live with them, we can observe them closely and investigate this place whenever we get the
2
chance.
階が社員の居住スペースだから空いてるところから好きな部屋を選んでくれて構わないよ。
Okay.
師匠、同じ部屋で生活を共にしましょう。絆を深めるためですもん。仕方ないですよね。
Why did I get the feeling that she would suggest something like this? I think we have plenty of choices.
うまいこと言いくるめられると思ったけど、ダメだったか。
Well, at least she gave it. I mean, it was worth a shot, I guess. Shoot your shots, Erica.
マスター、予売には気をつけてください。
Erica's shooting her shot in more ways than one.
その手があったか。ないよ。
I hope the girls haven't forgotten that we're here on an undercover mission. They may or may not have. Oh, this track. Code XXXX. I believe this is also a Grisaia classic. Daily life at Nostra follows a pretty regular routine, perhaps due to Seria's presence. We begin the day by eating breakfast together in the communal area. After breakfast, Koyoi takes Seria to school. When Koya gets back, we usually have a training session. Oh, I like how they actually create like a different... It looks like a different looking firing range. They didn't just reuse the same background they used for the Mihama firing range. Everybody, wait. Okay, yeah, I'm pretty sure I read the last line. Everybody is free to choose whether they'll train in close quarters combat outdoors or practice their shooting at the underground range. The expansive facilities of the HQ are put to good use. In this respect, it feels quite similar to training at Mihama Academy. Since Koyoi is an excellent shooter, she often acts as an instructor for the others. Since I'm not a combatant, I usually spend my time collecting information about rival organizations while everybody else is training. We all take our lunch break at the same time, and then we resume our training or work in the afternoon. Before Seria gets back in the evening, we take a shower to wash off the sweat and the smell of gunpowder. Koya picks Seria up from school and plays with her when they return to the mansion. That takes up most of her evening. And she's basically like a mom to Seria. Even after dinner, Seria usually insists that Koyoi plays with her. Koyoi seems entirely subject to the young girl's whims. More difficult than I expected. Barely have any time to investigate Nostra itself. Koyoi, you made any progress?
各部屋を見て回ったけれど、監視カメラ、盗聴器の類は見当たらなかったわ。ひとまず大半の部屋は安全を確認したから、これから何か情報が隠されていないか調べる段階ね。
When you say most rooms, do you mean that there are some that you haven't checked yet?
3階のボスの部屋と、私たちは立ち入りが禁止されている部屋が未調査よ。
Those are the most suspicious places. Have you been able to work out what the forbidden room is currently being used for?
付き合いのある組織の人が不定期に来て数時間密談しているわ。
Ooh.
マスター、何か気になることがあるんですか？
I was just thinking, if the boss trusts those people enough to invite them to his mansion, they must have a close relationship, mafia, terrorist, or otherwise. That would mean they are willing to work together, negating the need to recruit new members.
それでも人手を集めてるってことは、かなり大きいことをやろうとしてるってこと？今宵は何か知ってる？いいえ、あいにくその手の情報は私も知らないわ。マサキたちが受けた入社試験のように、たまに敵対組織を叩くくらいで、特に動きはないように思う。
It may not be a regular occurrence, but if they spend hours having secret talks, it's not unthinkable there will be some sort of development soon. However, it would be difficult for us to join in those talks. Security seems rather tight.
どうしましょう、マスター。
Let's start with the rooms on the second floor that we know are safe to investigate. We'll have to act cautiously. Elle will investigate a room, while the other three keep watch and distract other employees. It would be suspicious if only Elle disappeared for long stretches of time, so you will switch roles for the next room.
わかったわ。
Report to me if you find something. If I don't respond immediately, you're to assume that I'm unable to answer at the moment.
マスターが対応不可の場合は、今回のように夜にすればいいですか？
Yes, that will do.
わかりました。
Thanks. It seems like the other employees are keeping an eye on me. Not for that, I might have been able to help you more.
マサキ、何をしたの？
Hey, why are you assuming that I'm in the wrong? It's your fault, you know. 20 hours ago. The night after we passed the test, Nostra held a welcome party for their new employees. It seemed like a good opportunity to explore the mansion without drawing any attention to myself. However,
へえ、古賀さん結婚してるんだ。いいなあ。
お、セリカちゃんは結婚したい系女子か？
Koga Keisuke is responsible for the repairs and maintenance of the firearms that Nostra obtains from other organizations. Always the life of the party. He seems like an easygoing guy who'll offer a listening ear to anyone who wants to talk.
ねえねえ、奥さんどんな人？
And, well, Sirika seems like she's taken a liking to this man.
見てくれよセリカちゃん。これが俺の奥さんなんだけど。
What's going on, Sirika? I thought your heart belonged to Arata.
おお、めっちゃ美人。この子の隅に置けないな。
口説くのに半年もかかったからな。
Half a year to seduce her. Boy, don't phrase it like that.
振られても半年も追いかけ続けるなんてやるな。
ちょ、振られたこと前提かよ。
違うの？
いや、10回以上振られたけどさ、振られて当然みたいに言われると、おじさん悲しい。
Fellas, do not try this at home. If she says no, she means no. Sarika's interpersonal skills come in handy at times like this. She managed to break the ice right away.
サリアちゃんは学校の授業で何が好きなの？算数。
Well, that couldn't be me. I hate math. Wen chose to take a seat next to Saria. Perhaps she was feeling shy around the older men. Of course, Loli taking a seat next to the other Loli.
普段は何のお勉強が好きなの？応用がないやつ？応用？ 簡単な問題って意味だよ。へえ、フランって物知りなんだね。ねえねえ、もっとサリアが知らない言葉を教えて。
Correction. Teach her some age-appropriate words.
それじゃあ
Actually, the correct word would be clarification. Saria seems to be having a lot of fun talking with Flan. Maybe she sensed a kindred spirit in her because of Flan's youthful looks. It's great that somebody other than Koyo is able to befriend Saria. That will make it easier for Koyo to slip away from Saria and investigate the mansion. She's the most familiar with the place after all.
有馬さん、おかわりいりますか？
ああ、自分で装うから大丈夫。
Aima Shoji is the only explosive specialist that Nostra employs. Besides being knowledgeable about bombs themselves, he's also able to discern exactly how much firepower is needed for each operation. Or so I was told. Koyoi has never actually seen him use bombs during any of Nostra's raids.
こういうのは新人の役目だと思うので、私がやります。
エルちゃんは真面目だね。
先輩に敬意を払うのは当然のことです。
じゃあ、お言葉に甘えておかわりもらおうかな。
なあ、エルちゃんを見てると不正がどんどん芽生えてくるんだが。
What do you mean by that?
が、お前何を言ってんだ。頭大丈夫か？
大丈夫に決まってるだろう。というか、お前はこういう娘が欲しくならないか？
That's interesting.
ならないな。ああ、エルちゃんがどうこうではなくて、娘自体が欲しくないって言って。
Okay.
ちゃんと理解しているので大丈夫です。
It looked like Elle was having no trouble talking to the other employees either. At first I was worried because she tends to take everything so seriously, but my fears turn out to be unfounded. The undercover mission is going a lot more smoothly than I could have hoped.
さあ、こんな可愛い子たちと一緒に仕事してたなんて、まさきが羨ましいぜ。
Oh, here we go. Chihara Shuta is Nostra's treasurer. He's responsible for selling repaired and modified firearms. He seems to dislike hot weather, as he always wears light clothing. He would probably prefer to spend all his time naked if he could.
おいおい、本音を言えよ。羨ましいじゃなくて、憎たらしいだろ。俺は憎たらしいぞ。
あ、嫉妬なんてみっともないんだ。
I mean, you have Saria around. Isn't that cute enough for you guys?
けどお嬢様、こんなの理不尽じゃないですか？
おじさんよりかっこいい人と一緒にいたいのが普通だよ。
ひどい。
まさき、かっこいいですか？今時のチャラついた男って見た目ですけど。
Oh yeah? Well, let me see what you guys look like.
師匠かっこいいじゃないですか。
Hey, don't start an argument. That's the message I tried to convey when I shot a warning glance at Sarika. She winked at me in response.
へいへいへい。アイコンタクトとか見せつけるね。
Well, I guess that this is proof that her heart does indeed still belong to Arata.
やっぱり若い子は年が近い男がいい。
Well, yes, actually, I'm pretty sure. Unless you have a lot of money.
私は年齢や容姿で人を判断しないのでわかりませんが、マスターは信頼できる男性です。
フランちゃんは？フランちゃんくらいおとなしい子なら、まさきよりもっとダンディーな男がいいよね。
先生は立派な大人。いつも私の知らないことを教えてくれる。
What do you mean by so many things? Blonde, phrasing, please. Hey, you're going to give them the wrong idea. You spend a lot more time with the senior employees than us, Koyoi. Maybe you can tell us a thing or two about mature men. I just simply tried to shift the attention away from myself.
全然わからない。
Yeah, and is Koyoi not cute enough for them either?
いつもバカ話で盛り上がって子供っぽいし、まさきの方が全然大人びてると思う。
Koyoi shuts down my attempt with a shockingly blunt remark. They ruined everything! As a result, the senior employees have started teasing me whenever they see me. It's become incredibly difficult for me to speak to the girls through my headset unnoticed.
全く心当たりないんだけど。
Oh, so it looks like Koyo and the other girls have unknowingly complicated the mission. Never mind, let's get back on topic.
あれ？何の話をしてたんだっけ？潜入担当者に負担がかからないように周りが気を引いたりしてもらうかもしれないって話よ。ああ、そうだった。あ、普段は人と積極的にコミュニケーション取るの苦手なんだっけ？気を引くのはいいんだけど、あの人たちのノリが苦手。
Well, to be fair, they are like mafiosos. They're gangsters. They're not here to be. They're not supposed to be the most welcoming of people. They're not supposed to have the most likable personalities.
できるだけ僕もフォローするよ。うん、大丈夫。二人一緒だとカバーできる人数が少なくなる。だから一人で頑張る。
I'm not expecting any results overnight. There's no need to get impatient. Take your time and be cautious, even if it means having to interrupt your investigation.
はい。まさき、先輩たちの行動パターンまとめておくから後で確認しておいて。すべては把握していないけど、行動に移すタイミングの参考にはなると思う。
That would be great. Thanks. Alright, let's start our investigation in earnest tomorrow.
了解。行ってきまーす。待ってください、お嬢様。それでは行ってきます。
Oh, Rainy Summer Angel. I believe that's, yep, Grisaia Classic.
サリアのこと頼んだよ。
はい。
では私も表の方の仕事に行ってくるよ。
はい、お気をつけて。
さて、それじゃあトレーニングを始めますか。どうしたクランち
トレーニング一緒にやりませんか？
ゃん。いいけど、どうしたのこっち
いろんな人からどんな風に銃を撃ってるのか聞きたくて。
Is this Flan's way of like distracting the other guys, or maybe she actually like genuinely wants some tips?
ほほう、最初に俺に声をかけるとは、クランちゃん見る目あるね。
Maybe it's a little bit of both.
いいぜ、華麗な銃さばきを見せてあげようじゃないか。
But I have a feeling it is Flan's way of distracting the other guys. It looks like Flan succeeded in getting Arima's attention.
体格いい人が多いし、今日は組手の訓練でもしよっかな。
Sparring bout.
俺も今日は近接格闘のトレーニングにすっかな。
お前、下心が見え見えだぞ。
Yeah, some of these dudes are like, I love a woman that can kick my ass.
セリカちゃん、安心してくれ。千原には指一本たりとも触らせないから。
Well, that sucks because I'm pretty sure that's the whole idea of sparring, isn't it?
大丈夫ですよ。こう見えて体術には自信があるんで。
へえ、それは楽しみだな。
やっぱり心配だから、俺もそばにいるよ。
Yeah, you should be worried for your colleague, not for Serika.
エルちゃんはどうする？
せっかくですから両方やってみようかと思います。何度も行ったり来たりしたら皆さんの邪魔になってしまうでしょうか。
いや、そんなことないと思うよ。
Alright, this will make it even easier for L to investigate the building unnoticed. It has been about 30 minutes since training began. I'm in the communal living room pretending to work so that I'll immediately notice if somebody comes upstairs from the underground shooting range. The Nao-san is really impressive. She has already unearthed some information on 3 other organizations nearby.
マスター、2階に到着しました。こちらはいつでも行動可能です。
Let's sit there in awe at the Nano-san's efficiency. A voice call from L comes in. We'll start with one of the ordinary employees' rooms to get you used to it. Don't let your guard down, okay?
はい。
Did you look at the floor plans I sent you earlier?
すべて頭に入ってます。
Great. Can you start with the route? Can you start with Route 7 then?
了解です。侵入者を確認するための仕掛けはなし。会場完了。潜入を開始します。
I enter the room and take a usual. Wait, I enter the room and take a look around. It's quiet. Where the hell did I get usual from? Paying close attention to the positioning of the furniture, I memorize all the objects in the room and their location.
ざっと見た感じ、きちんと片付けられていて、特に怪しいところはありません。
Oh, I guess this is like, yeah, L's point of view. It was L's point of view that I was narrating. I see. Then how about you go around the room and investigate all the objects one by one? It's unlikely that an ordinary employee has any crucial data stored on their devices, but they might be hiding something because nobody would expect it there. Let me know if anything catches your attention, no matter how insignificant it may seem.
了解です。
First, I walk up to the desk. Seems likely that any valuables would be stored in the desk drawers.
パソコンやスマートフォンなど、電子機器の類は特に見当たりません。
If he has a smartphone, he probably has it with him.
クローゼット内も調べてみます。
Wait,
まさき、こんなところで何やってるんだ？
what does it look like? I'm working, of course. I couldn't concentrate when I was cooped up in my own room. That's why I decided to move to the living room.
本当か？リビングの方がくつろげて集中できない気がするが。
Maybe that's true for some people, but I actually prefer it here. The moment Chihara came in, I switched to the window in which I have a summary of the data on a rival gang that the Thanato system put together for me. Look, this is what I've got so far.
見やすくまとめてあるな。
It would be a bother if he stuck around any longer to talk to me. Need to find a smart way to end this conversation as soon as possible. Just then, Koyoi, who just dropped Saria off at school, comes into the room.
二人してこんなところでサボりですか？
違う違う。体を動かしすぎて汗をかいたからタオルを取りに来ただけだよ。で、まさきがこんなところにいたから何してんのかと思ってちょっと話してたってわけ。
そうですか。
Koyoi shoots me a glance, and I flash a weak smile. She seems to understand what I want her to do.
部屋へ着替えに戻るので、ついでに取ってきましょうか？
いや、それはちょっと。
別に手間じゃないですし、遠慮しなくても大丈夫ですよ。
ああ、そういう理由じゃなくてだな。
ああ、部屋が散らかってるとかそういう理由ですか？私は別に気にしませんよ。千原さんだらしないですし。
Ouch!
ひどい。でも、そのバッサリ切り捨てるような言い方、ちょっとゾクッときた。
Oh. So he has taken a somewhat of a liking to Koyoi.
あ、マジごめん。冗談です。とにかく、部屋に人を入れたくないから自分で取りに行くよ。
そうですか。
まさきも仕事の邪魔して悪かったな。
It's fine. L, watch out. Chihara-san is headed for the second floor. You are in his room, but you'd better be quiet until he goes back downstairs, just in case.
わかりました。
I stop moving and hold my breath, remaining on standby until Master gives me the clear. Mind keeps working hard, though, trying to come up with any spots that would be worth searching. There he is. Man, who reads magazines these days? The footsteps are coming closer. Don't tell me. What? My eyes dart around the room, searching for the closest place where I could conceal myself. In the closet. Just as the lock opens with a click, I dive into the closet. There aren't a lot of things in this closet. He opens the door, he will see me immediately. Oh no. Oh no. The sound of footsteps come closer. Ah, why didn't you fucking... Why didn't you just hide under the bed or something? Again, most beds, I feel like a lot of beds aren't like... The undersides of a lot of beds aren't big enough for a grown person to hide in. Here, Chiara-san put his hand on the closet door's handles.
千原さん何してるんですか?
Oh!
ここ千原さんの部屋じゃないですよね。
いや、ちょっと雑誌を借りようかと思ってるな。
サボってないでトレーニングに戻りますよ。
ちょっとだけダメ？
ダメです。サボっているとボスに叱られますよ。
それはまずい。けど、今宵が黙っててくれればバレないわけで。
千原さんがトレーニングに戻れば私が黙る必要もないですよ。
わかったよ。
Koyoi the MVP!
ちょっと待て、俺まだタオル取ってきてない。
待ってますから早く取ってきてください。
え、わざわざ待ってるの？それってどうしてって？
またサボらないか見張るためです。
I'm gasping for breath. I'm so scared that I forgot to breathe for a couple of minutes. Earl, are you alright?
はい。今宵のおかげで助かりました。すぐに調査を再開。
No, wait. Yara-san hasn't come back downstairs yet. I take another deep breath. Could it be that he noticed me after all? What's this feeling? My chest feels kind of warm, right around my heart. Wow, I wonder what this mysterious feeling could be. When I can't come to an answer, I decide to take a break until Master's next orders come in.
Master, 調べてて気づいたことがあります。
About 10 minutes later, after Elle resumed her investigation, she contacts me again.
この部屋のクローゼット、私の部屋のものより少しだけ狭いんです。
Okay.
おそらく板で壁を偽装しているものと思われます。
Ooh. Does it look like you can remove the panel easily?
はい、問題ありません。
Did you find something?
ナイフが10本ありました。形状、鋭利さから人を殺めるためのものと思われます。
I'm pretty sure most knives are sharp enough to kill a person. Applies for knives, right? That was written in the file that Koyoi gave me.
マスター、どうしますか?
I don't think we can gain any new information from those knives. It would be too risky to take them. Can you put the panel back the way it was and continue investigating?
了解しました。
After that, I have Elle search every corner of the room, but she doesn't find anything else of interest.
セリカちゃんに全く触れなかったんだけど、どういうこと？
Damn, beaten by a girl. Ha!
いや千原さん、動きが見え見えだったし。
がっつりと組み合おうとしすぎたか。
What's wrong, Chihara? Isn't that what you wanted?
うわ
おい、ドン引きされてるぞ。
随分と賑やかだね。
ボス、お帰りなさい。
やはり若い子が増えると活気が違うね。
I've put together a file of information regarding several of our competitors, sir. Please take a look through it when you have the time.
わかった。ありがとう、まさき。
No problem, sir. I've mostly focused my research on organizations which seem to be more powerful than Nostra. If we're lucky, the boss might decide to ask his partners for help in dealing with them. If any of those partners happen to be branches of Hades, then we might be able to gain some useful intel. Now, how can I convince them to take the bait? The next day.
今日みんなにトレーニングを休んで集まってもらったのは他でもない。仕事先が決まったからだ。
Oh,
今
finally.
回のターゲットは A 市を拠点にしているベニートという組織だ。
Benito? Benito? I've never heard that name before. Denial-san didn't bring up any intel on them. That means that their threat level is currently close to 0. Then why are we targeting them? Did one of the employees find an organization Denial-san overlooked? That's hard to imagine.
おい、まさき。難しい顔してどうした？
Nothing. I'm just a bit frustrated with my lack of power.
有馬は見つけたけど、まさきは見つけられなかったんだ。
No, I'm not exactly jealous. I flashed Yara a wry smile, hoping that he'll drop the topic.
仕事先は把握しました。対処法はどうします？
いつも通り自由で構わないよ。会社に迷惑をかけず、きちんと結果を残す方法なら何でもね。
たぎってきた。
To be honest, I kind of have a bad feeling about this. I mean, Benito, supposedly a known organization that the Nanos never ever brought up.
仕事道具には限りがあるんだから、あまり弾けすぎるなよ。
After we prepare our own equipment, we get into the van. Everyone else seems so cheerful that you almost think we were going on a road trip rather than a raid.
あー、初仕事緊張する。
Well, I was about to say, like, was the whole foster thing not a real job? But no, that was just pre-employment. This is like post-employment.
そんなに深く考えないで、好きに暴れていいんだよ。
いや、僕たちは師匠が指示を出してくれないと力を発揮できないというか。
そうなの？
前に僕たちだけで仕事した時は連携が取れなくてグダグダになったことがありまして。
We thought it might be unnatural for us to constantly communicate during the mission without a good reason. So Sarika cleverly works the excuse we came up with into the conversation.
俺らとは真逆なタイプだ。
長いこと一緒にトレーニングしてるのに連携が苦手とか笑えない話だった。
あ、ボスは家庭じゃなくて結果を重視する人だから。エリカちゃんたちのやりやすいやり方でやって大丈夫だよ。
マスター、指揮をお願いして大丈夫ですか？
Of course, I'll look at the documents the boss gave me and try to come up with a good plan.
仕事が早いわね、まさき。さすが僕の師匠。やっぱり先生は頼りになる。
Arta getting his daily dose of praises. And apparently it's making the other men jealous.
絶対に一番多く敵を仕留めてまさきの株を落としてやる。
His market value? I wish the girls would stop provoking them.
よし、到着。
Huh? Armin-san parks the car in the middle of what appears to be the driveway to Benito's HQ.
隠密行動しないんですか？
いや、郊外にある組織なんだし、何も気にせず最初からドンパチするだろ。
じゃ、お先に。
あ、おがてめえ、一人で先に行くなよ。
Everyone scrambles to get out of the van. This really does feel like a field trip. I'm shocked that the other men are acting as if we came here to have fun.
ほら、私たちも行くわよ。
はい。では行ってきます。
Oops. Hold on. Okay, so actually wasn't so bad that I skipped the dialogue. If possible, I want to find out why we're targeting this organization when Thanato-san didn't bring it to our attention. Don't just focus on being the enemies. Try to gather whatever intelligence you can get your hands on.
了解です。
And be careful.
はい。
Koga-san and the other men go in through the front entrance, but we try to be a little more discreet and go around the back. I hear screams and gunshots in the distance. The enemy has probably focused all their firepower on the men entering from the front, not detecting any people nearby.
とりあえず部屋を片っ端から調べて気になったことを覚えとけばいい感じかな。けど敵を全く倒さないのは怪しまれるだろうし、その辺は臨機応変に行きましょう。二手に分かれて探索する？そうね。古賀さんたちに荒らされて欲しい情報が得られなくなる可能性もあるし、その方がいいと思うわ。
チームの割り振りはどうします？
前衛と後衛のバランスとかを考えると、僕とフラン、エルルンとおよいちゃんとか？よし、じゃあそれで行きましょう。
Moving cautiously, we eliminate the enemies one by one as we find them.
次はこの部屋ね。
I exchange glances with Koya. Okay, so it looks like I'm narrating Elle's perspective again. We open the door and... A woman screams. She's holding a young girl in her
お
arms.
願いします。助けてください。本当に私は何も知らないです。私たちは敵と勘違いしている。
What is this? This looks like a jail cell or something. The little girl must be terrified. She's clinging to the woman as if her life depends on it. They appear to be a mother and daughter.
この人たちはベニートに捕らえられていたみたいですね。こういう場合、ノストラはどうしていますか？今宵？今宵？
Koya suddenly crouches down, clutching her chest as if she's struggling to breathe. Did she get shot somewhere?
大丈夫。問題ない。
問題ないって全然そんな風に見えません。
本当に大丈夫。
でも
死ぬことよ。
When Koya looks up at me, I notice that she's as pale as a sheet.
危ない。
Koya grabs me by the arm and pulls me to the floor. A split second later, a sharp pain runs through my forehead. What? Did I get shot?
外したか。
The girl who appeared to be crying just moments ago is glaring at us with a sour expression on her
あな
face.
たはベニートの人間だったんですね。
Can't see from my left eye because of the blood dripping down from my forehead. We're in serious trouble.
被害者のふり、うまかったでしょ？
What? That is insane.
まさか女性の方も。
Keep my eyes on the girl in front of me. I assume my defensive stance in case the woman attacks. The girl seems to notice my
安
intentions.
心して。この女は本物だから。
The girl takes out a knife and stabs the woman. Ouch.
ほら、仲間ならこんなに刺さないでしょ？
Damn. This Benito organization employed a real psychotic piece of work. Meanwhile, what the fuck is going on with Koyoi? The sight of a murdered woman seems to have made Koyoi sick.
今宵
So is it like that she can't handle death, like, at all? Well, then that wouldn't really. Hmm.
私のことはいいから目の前のに集中して。
Would be no problem if this was a one-on-one. But now that my field of vision has been halved, and I almost have to cover for the incapacitated Koyoi, this is going to be a difficult fight. Still, I have to do this. Oh, we got this, I believe, a new OST playing. It's called Hadean. Hadean. Somehow we managed to defeat the enemy.
今宵大丈夫ですか？
Seems like her episode has subsided, but she's still looking rather pale.
私たちはもう下がりましょう。
でもまだ調べていないところが。
本調子じゃない私たちが加わっても足手まといになる可能性があります。それにセリカとフランは頼りになる存在です。あとは二人に任せましょう。
分かったわ。
After finishing the job, we return to Nostra HQ.
成果物は俺たちが運んでおくから、エルちゃんは怪我の治療をしてきな。
ありがとうございます。
付き添うわ。
いえ、一人で問題ありません。
悪いけどこれは譲れないわ。
ですが、
Koyoi's certain expression tells me that she means
わか
it.
りました。では、お願いします。
これでいいわね。
ありがとうございます。
お礼なんてやめてよ。私のせいで怪我したのに。
今宵に打たれた覚えはないんですが。
そういう意味じゃなくて、私が変調をきたさなければあなたは怪我をしなかったでしょ。
Koyoi suddenly collapsed after we found that enemy posing as the woman's daughter. I remember her getting injured, though. It doesn't appear to be a problem with her physical health. That means,
トラウマが。
most likely,
だから怪我の原因は私よ。やっぱり。
見解の相違があるようですね。お互いに納得するのは難しそうなので、この話はここで終わりましょう。けど、やはり私は今宵にお礼を言うべきだと思います。あの時、今宵が私の手を引いてくれなかったら、致命傷を負っていたかもしれません。だから、助けてくれてありがとうございます。
Koyoi blinks at me, a dumbfounded expression on her face.
あなたって強情なのね。
She breaks into a smile.
同情ですか。
だってこの話はここで終わりって言った直後に自分の主張を続けたのよ。
いえ、あれは主張ではなくお礼です。
見解の相違があるよね。お互いに納得するのは難しそうだし、この話はここで終わりましょう。
私の言葉をそのまま返すとは、いい性格してますね。
This is just going on and on and on, isn't it?
勝手に話を終わりにしたエルにちょっと仕返ししたくなってね。
Koyoi smiles, and the air in the room suddenly feels a lot lighter. Alright, well, I guess that's gonna be one of the big mysteries in chapter 2. What exactly happened? I mean, it has to be some sort of trauma, right? That's why she collapsed? What exactly happened with Koyoi in her past that made her act that way, that made her collapse? The night after we launched our raid against Benito, there it is. I send a report to the principal and receive a reply soon after.
待たせたね。ベニートのことをタナトスに調べてもらった。結果は最初の調査結果と同じでトルに足りない組織だ。
Well, I personally am not going to accept that answer because there's still quite a few unanswered questions when it comes to this Benito organization. They're not? But somehow Nostra considers them enough of a threat to attack them.
それが一概にそうとは言い切れない。事前調査の段階では襲撃に対応できるほどの武器は所持していなかった。
The fighting was pretty fierce though. If that information accurate?
タナトスは情報に間違いはないと言っている。
Then how do they obtain such a large amount of weapons in such a short time?
組織の規模を考えるとスポンサーがいた可能性があるな。
Sounds plausible, but that would imply Nostra's intel gathering abilities are superior to that of the Thanatos system.
その可能性はないと思いたいが、判断するには情報が足りない。まぐれあたりの可能性もある。ひとまずは頭の片隅に留めておいてくれればいい。
But that doesn't explain how, like, why they would know an organization that the Thanatos system doesn't. Like, maybe it's an up-and-coming organization, and like that's why they know about it, but the Thanatos doesn't. Maybe the Thanatos system is out of date. Like, is it like the information the Thanatos system has is a bit outdated? But that wouldn't really be possible, would it? Considering that the Thanatos system is a fucking supercomputer. Understood, ma'am.
私の方からは以上だが、そちらからは他に何かあるかい？
Should I tell her about Koyoi? I wasn't acting any different from usual when she came out of Koyoi's room, though. No, not that I can think of, ma'am.
そうか。では報告終了だな。引き続き頼む。
Yes, ma'am. There's so many things to think about. Nostra's impressive intel gathering and Koyoi's condition. I'll need to draw up some plans, just in case we have to deal with any of these problems in the future. Guess I'll be pulling an all-nighter. The day after our raid on Benito HQ. L, can you hear me? I call L via my headset.
はい。
How's your left eye?
外で軽く体を動かしてみましたけど、戦闘を行えないほどの障害はありませんでした。少々違和感はありますが、支障はないものと思われます。
So she's still feeling it. She doesn't think it will bother her. Should I take her word for that? The longer I ponder the issue, the more guilty I feel.
すみません、マスター。
You don't need to apologize. It's not uncommon to sustain injuries in this line of work.
はい。マスター。
L, I have a favor to ask of you.
おはようございます。
エルちゃん、おはよう。目の具合はどう？
What's that favor?
はい。何も問題ありません。あ、朝食の準備手伝いますね。
L walks toward the kitchen when she bumps into the table and loses her balance, falling on her ass.
エルちゃん、大丈夫か？
その、
エルルン、顔赤くなってる。
やっぱり目の調子が良くないんじゃ。
不安だから今日一日サポートする。
エルちゃん、トレーニング休まないの？
はい、そのつもりです。
いやいやいや。
大丈夫です。何の問題もありません。
I suppose it won't be this easy to convince them. Just one more push, L. When I shoot L a glance, she looks back at me like a deer caught in headlights.
エル、本当に大丈夫？無理してない？
別にトレーニングは休んでもいいんだよ。
皆さん、心配しすぎです。誰か襲いかかってきてください。きちんと受け流して、問題ないことを証明してみせます。
Oh, okay then.
いや、それは。じゃあ、行くよ。
Oh shit.
思いっきり殴られてるじゃん。
Sarah just goes straight for it.
今のは向き合う前に襲いかかってこられたからで。
I'm very confused. Is this part of the plan or?
あ
もう一度お願いします。
Elle starts panicking when she notices everybody's doubtful looks.
あれ？セリカ？
Sarah easily slips into Elle's blind spot and mercilessly slams her into the ground.
いや、後ろから投げるのはさすがに。 サポートするの決定。
わかりました。
エルルンに銃を扱わせるの不安だし、近接格闘の方かな。待って、エルを休ませるという選択肢はないの？エルルンって一度言い出したら聞かないタイプだし。うん。
え？
確かにそういう感じの子よね。
どこでそう判断したのか詳しく。
I mean, you do seem like that type of person.
こよい、学校行く時間。あ、はい、わかりました。
今宵待ってください。
はいはい、後でね。
いえ、できれば今でお願いします。
こよいちゃんの邪魔しちゃダメだよ、エルルン。
Oh!
助け舟はありがたいけど、怪我人なんだから大切に扱いましょうよ。
Warrior looks down at Elle, sprawled on the floor yet again, with pity in her eyes.
こよい、先行っちゃうよ。あ、はい。セリカ、エルを投げるの禁止ね。こよいちゃんって意外と心配性なんだね。
いや、セリカちゃんたちがアグレッシブすぎるんじゃないかな。
30 minutes into training, Warrior returns after dropping Saria off at school.
ねえ、まさき、本当にエルは大丈夫なの？
Don't worry, she's fine.
でも、セリカにあしらわれてる姿を見たらすごく心配なんだけど。
Hmm?
私、何か変なこと言った？
When I see Koyoi's puzzled expression, it's then that I realize. Oh, right! I didn't tell you yet because you're busy taking care of Saria most of the time.
どういうこと？
She's just putting on an act. I asked Elle to play up the victim act in order to draw the senior employee's attention and sympathy. Elle's injury isn't really affecting her capabilities, but she'll be acting like a klutz for a while.
そうだったのね。よかった。
Koyoi still seems to be feeling guilty about Elle's injury. Maybe it'd be good if I tried to lighten the mood a little. Anyway, I can't believe you seriously got worried about Elle when she's just acting. That's pretty cute of you.
うるさい。
And it worked like a charm. Koyoi blushes and shoots me a bashful glare. I gotta admit, yeah, Elle, I wasn't sure what or wasn't part of the plan. So yeah, I feel like, I did kind of have a hunch, at first, that Elle was acting and, she was just putting on an act. Like, she was faking being clumsy and all that. But then when she started arguing with the other guys and the other girls, that's when I wasn't sure. I especially wasn't sure when Serica started, throwing her around. It'll look unnatural if you suddenly stopped worrying about Elle, though. So can you make sure to keep on looking out for her?
ニヤニヤして、あなた絶対楽しんでるでしょ。
All Grisaia male protagonists had to have a teasing side to them. They had to tease their girls at least once in a while. Whatever could you be talking about? She's acting like her usual self, but it's still worrying how she suddenly broke down yesterday. Can I ask you to carry out tonight's investigation?
人のことをからかった後に頼むなんて、いい性格してるわね、あなた。
It's just some friendly banter because I trust you.
信頼。
You wouldn't neglect your duties on an assignment as important as this, would you?
そんなことしないわよ。私もまさきのことは信頼しているし。
During the joint training exercise, we ended up together because we were both outcasts. It seems like she also senses the bond we forged back then. Oh, what kind of bond? I'd love to know how Arima-san obtained his intel about Benito, which Thanao-san did not even assess as a possible threat. However, Chiara-san is selling the goods we obtained yesterday, so it would be too risky to sneak into Arima-san's room next door. To minimize the risk, it's better if we don't snoop around in his room today, but I do want to gather as much information as I can. That's why I chose the room furthest away from Arima-san's.
古賀さんの部屋に潜入したわ。
How's it look inside?
なんというか雑多な部屋。出しっぱなしの本を見ると片付けたくなってくるわね。
Books.
何か気になることあるの？
I was just thinking there's a chance that something could be hidden inside those books.
そんな小細工するかしら。古賀さんはノストラの中でも特に幼稚なタイプだけど。
Ouch, you're lucky he can't hear you say that. That's harsh. That's why people call you a sadist.
誰が言ってたのか教えてくれる？
Whoa, I didn't know you could sound so threatening. Anyway, try to focus on your mission.
わかったわ。ひとまず本を調べてみるわ。漫画ばっかりね。あれ？
Manga? What's wrong?
漫画の裏に大きめの本があるわ。隠してあるの怪しい。
Hmm? Oi suddenly goes silent. Oi oi? What's wrong? Is there someone nearby? I didn't see anybody go upstairs. Is there a hidden passage somewhere?
いえ、誰も来て。
Hmm? Then what's wrong? You're obviously acting strange.
大丈夫。なんでもない。
Oh, that same old excuse again. You don't sound like you're fine. Report to me what's happening, Koyoi.
言わないとダメ。
What, you stumbled upon porn? Some hentai? You found one of his boxers? Tell me as many details as you can. I want to know the exact situation. Oh boy. If it is what I think it is, then... Oh man, this ought to be quite an amusing scenario.
わかった。
Take a few deep breaths, but I'm still not sure if I'm ready for this. Maybe it's no use trying to be diplomatic. I breathe in deeply and...
複数の男女が卑猥なことしてる漫画なのよ。
Yeah, I figured. What?
だから前から後ろから女の人が責められて顔が
I've never seen any books like this before, but even I can tell what's being depicted. Oh, you innocent little bean. Well, I guess not so innocent, because she does know what it is. The cover looks inconspicuous, which made it all the more shocking when I opened it. Ah, you didn't need to be that specific. Your answer was just so unexpected that it took me a moment to process, that's all. I heard you loud and clear. I was asking for more details.
ちょっとそれじゃあ私無駄に卑猥なことを言わされただけじゃない。
I mean, you could have just said, you know, you stumbled across porn, and that would have been sufficient enough. Doesn't sound like anything too unusual, to be honest.
女の人が複数の男の人から責められるの普通なの？
You'd be surprised. I mean, have you heard of what they've been doing in American police departments? No, that's not what I mean.
どういうこと？何してきた？こういうのは1対1が普通なんじゃないの？
Okay, maybe she is leaning more towards the innocent side. Let's put that aside for now. Can you check if there's anything hidden in those books? Define hidden. Define books.
あなた、鬼畜。
Well, it's your mission to investigate, isn't it? If you understand them, please continue.
わかったわ。そんなことまでするの？あ、そう？
You put it where?
男の人じゃなくて女の人が複数？ちょっと待って、外でなんて。
Man, do these guys really not have any laptops or something? Like, they still have physical copies of porn? Of hentai? Yeah, once again, Koyoi is collapsed and breathing heavily, but for a different reason.
一通り確認したわ。
It was on that day that Koyoi has discovered something about herself that she never thought was possible. Find anything?
私、古賀さんのこと軽蔑しそう。
Girl, you should realize, if only you knew how not unheard of this is for men. That's not what I'm asking.
本の中も室内も特に何もなかったわ。
No results, huh? You can come back now, Koyoi.
あったわ。
I'm sure you know this, but don't try to borrow any of the books, okay?
取らないし、興味もないわよ。
Yeah, you said... That's what she says, but... I see. So you wouldn't add them to your spank bank?
おかず？どういうこと？
I cannot believe he just said that. Actually, no. Considering how outrageous dialogue can be in this game, I could. Just ask Serica.
ええ、わかった。
What do you mean, just ask Serica? Serica has a spank bank? I'm exhausted. Looking at this stuff has made me all sweaty. Wish I could just take a hot shower and go straight to bed. Unfortunately, I have a certain little lady to pick up from school.
千原さんが仕事してるんだから慎重に戻らないと。
Remembering my mission, I carefully head down the stairs. Alright, I think this is a good place to stop.
セーブします。
So, yeah, this has been entirely all about the Class D infiltrating Nostra. There's a lot more like downtime and like slice of life elements than I expected. I mean, yes, I know they're like technically undercover and everything, so they're not gonna go in like guns blazing and all that, but still, it's like, I don't know, they're like, I feel like they've like kind of, in a way, there's quite a few scenes where I feel like they kind of like made themselves home at the Nostra HQ. Like they seem very comfortable, even though they're technically on a mission. Like there are times where I feel like the Class D and the Nostra guys have been, like they've gotten along fairly well. It's an interesting development. But yeah, let's see what else this infiltration mission has in store. But yeah, other than that, thank you guys for watching. Have a great day. Subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Twitter. And I will see you guys next time.